Taurus, how are you? I'm having a heat flash every time. Oh, I don't know why I didn't just open up the window every time. Just open up the window every time. Okay, so we're going to start this reading off with a ruin stone. Or two. Ah, there's one. Ha! One is one. Ruin one. And that one's coming down. Okay. Oh, we got three. Ooh. Tricky. Okay, so we got number 1, number 10, and number 12. 1, 10, and 12. Okay, so 1 is abundance, success, security. 10 is restriction, conflict, willpower. And then 12 is cycles, completion, and changes. So it's like, I think there's success with a cycle, maybe a conflict cycle that's been going on for a while that may have been able to restrict your willpower and change in your life. So now abundance is coming in, successful abundance is coming in because that restriction, conflict restriction that was over your life is now complete. Like everything has to cycle. You cycle in, cycle out. Like nothing can stay in a constant energy all the time, right? It has to shift. Okay, let's see. I know, I keep seeing this black deck. Okay, let's see. Let's see what the old Oracle says. Success over a difficult period. I was listening, oh, okay, that makes sense. I was listening to this Yellow Wolf song right before I started. It came on my playlist, Let's Roll. I can still hear it, I can still hear it playing in my head. And let's roll, like let's get past, I don't think it's what the song is about, but let's get past this. So, what is that? Oh, that's just a little speck. Okay, so these cards matched a ruin. So with 10, the runner, so the conflict, this restriction conflict that you could have had over you was making you a codependent person, right? So probably constantly running away from that conflict, right? Running away from, I almost think anything that would progress you forward, right? So like fear of intimacy, listening to the ego, like fear of intimacy would be afraid to cross that line with somebody and really let them in, right? You could be used to somebody running away from you all the time and you chasing them, or have that feeling like you want people to chase you in order to show that they love you, in order to show that they're worthy of you, right? And then with the abundant success and security is the Phoenix. So new phase, rekindle, growth, transformation, changed mind. So the success comes with the mind change where something was able to come and I almost think that you were able to calm your mind, right? And know that the reason why you run all the time and the reason why it's easy to blame other people for things, right, was just your coping mechanism for never really getting that close to somebody, right? So with Ruin, yeah, okay, so with Ruin 12, we have the sword and the rose. So the 12 is the cycle's completion and changes. So there's clarity and truth behind how you've changed, right? You might be, I really feel like there's a lot of protection now around you now that you completed this. It's like stepping back into your power because your power was restricted before. You let other people have the power. And then those other people having the power controlled you, right? So then you didn't have to make any decisions. You could just live off of how they felt about things, right? So there's honor in where you changed. There's truth behind what you've done and how you've transformed. It's like a whole new phase, a whole new world, whole new person almost. Time 6 minutes. God, I've had these cards for like 2 years and they're still stiff as boards. Oh. The OG deck that I had with this same theme, like they changed the card stock. I don't know when, but it's awful. It's like plastic. It's not card stock anymore. It's just plastic. It sucks. Okay, Taurus. Anything else? Yeah, we're just gonna expand on this now. Yeah. Okay. So we got the Six of Pentacles, but like in its limbo. And that's about, what rune was that? Number 10. That's where your restriction and conflict lies. It's almost like you couldn't see what was fair, what was equal, right? What was given out wasn't given back, right? There was, it was like almost in limbo what's fair, right? And like if you've grown up in an unfair atmosphere with somebody controlling you, then no doubt you're going to bring it into your house as an adult, right? You're going to let somebody try to still control you because that's all you've ever known, right? So with with the success and abundance, with the Phoenix is the 9 of Swords. So that is anxiety. That is anxiety with a new changed mind. Like if you've changed your mind on something, then you might think that everything's going to change. But the thing is that it's going to change in a good way. If it takes people away from you, that's in a good way. It's not in a bad way. So feeling like you getting everything fair is going to somehow threaten the life of somebody else or restrict the life of somebody else, it's not, right? Like you have to grow. You have to change. You have to cycle. And if you don't want to, then you end up getting held in a spot, right? And then growth is all around you, but you can't touch it, right? So then the last ruin, which is the cycles changing, you changed your mind about something. It's the 10 of Cups. So your changed mind on I think your fear and ego to get close to somebody or to be alive almost and to be fair. Like it's almost like you could be overly fair in your life now, like overly giving because you don't know where that fairness lies, right? But you changing your mind on this and you growing and like that could be a fear too, of like a fear of not being liked, right? So if somebody knows that you have something and you're used to giving it away to people because they say they're less fortunate, they say that, you have more than them, so you try to help them, that could be over giving, and that's not fair. That's not fair to you, right? To overgive to a bunch of people because they feel like you owe them something or you're in a better position so you can help them. But just because you're in a better position, it's only because you've helped yourself, right? And then once you feel like you can give away, then give away, but make sure that it's equal to you, right? Like your picture perfect idea of a life is to have this clarity, is to have truth over why you do what you do. And I do feel like it's somebody feeling as if they have to get everybody to like them. And to a sense where you might end up chasing people around because you like them and you feel like that's giving, that's giving. Like you're supposed to chase people around, if they run away from you, but it's like, no, like this isn't manhunt. Right? We're not in the woods playing a game. Like people shouldn't be getting off on being chased around. That's just sounds terrifying. Really. Oh, remember Manhunt? What a great game. Oh. You have to be in like a small area of woods though. Like you can't be in a huge forest because like people get lost for hours. But if you have like, we had this opening around like a huge field and then we just go in. Oh, it's just like, but this is not the same thing. Wanting to be chased is terrifying. That sounds terrifying. So 3 of Cups, 7 of Pentacles. So there is no friend in somebody making you wait. Okay? There is no friend in somebody telling you you have to wait. Or telling you not to wait, telling you to act on impulse, right? Well, you need to do it right now. You need to do it right now. Well, why? Can't I think about it? Like almost like saying somebody can't think about something, right? And that's kind of like along with PTSD. Like you end up moving more in the motions than you do ever thinking about what you're doing. You're just constantly in that critical frame of mind that like you're going to lose somebody or they're not going to come back to you and you're going to be alone again. And that feeling of being alone is because probably you had a parent that wasn't around, right? So you feel like your spouse is going to do the same thing. They're going to leave you, but that's just your ego. That's just your fear of intimacy. Like, I mean, if somebody leaves you, it's not your fault. Maybe it is your fault. I don't know, but it's not repeating the past. I feel like you make it repeat the past if you keep bringing the past up to where you're at, right? It's like, I feel like somebody doesn't know what a true friend is, right? That everything is give and take. That actually my sister and I were talking about that today and how relationships are like, you have to feed each other. It's not just about feeding yourself all the time. It's about, they told this great story on Boardwalk Empire. Oh my God. Steve Buscemi's reaction was my reaction, and this woman tells this story about heaven and hell and how a man was able to go to heaven and hell as a visit. He goes to hell first and he sees all these people fighting with these long spoons and they've got all this food in front of them, like this massive feast, but they can't eat because they physically can't get the spoon in their mouth. So they're like fighting each other and they're pissed off because they can't eat. And then he goes into heaven and he sees the same feast laid out, but all the men, they still have the same spoons, but they're feeding each other, right? And that's the difference between the greedy who just want to constantly shovel in themselves versus the people who put as much trust into their partner as they have. So if they're going starving, they're going to both feed each other because there's that equal trust, right? And then Steve Buscemi goes, why didn't they just bend their elbows? Oh my God, his response. And that was the same as mine. It's like, why didn't these guys just bend their elbows? Like, why didn't they just hold the spoon lower, like, and that's not the gist of the story. The story is that they're supposed to learn to feed each other, right? And I think that's what this is like, if you give to a friend, then I should hope, like, if they don't have the money to give it back to you, I should hope that they're giving you friendship, that they're giving you something in return, right? And actually, my buddy Gary once, I never say names. I can't believe I did that. But anyways, my friend, he did this experiment with his friends because he didn't want to do blow anymore. And he didn't know which ones of his friends were just coming around to just do drugs and leave. So he got his friends over all the time saying that you want to party. So his friends would come over and then he'd be like, oh yeah, by the way, I don't have any blow. We're just going to sit here and like have a beer. And then he goes, 90% of his friends left. So he goes, they're not my friends. Like, they didn't want to sit and just have a beer with me. They wanted the drugs. They wanted to get high with me and get all fucked up and then go home. He's like, but I don't want to do that anymore. So how am I going to know who's the good ones and who's the bad ones? And I was like, I mean, he's an ex-cop. Clearly, he knows what he's doing. But I was like, good for you. Like, that's a very mature decision, because you don't have to say anything to those people. It's not like you have to be, come at them and be like, you're just using me. But because you know that people are not going to admit. Like, they're going to look at you like you're crazy. And that's where it's like boils your people's blood, because you know that someone's doing something and they're never going to admit it. But just because they don't admit it, it's never going to not be true. So why bother yourself with trying to get the explanation out when sometimes there is no explanations? People are just assholes, right? They just use you. They're not friends, but they look like friends, right? And that's like a fear of I really feel like it's a fear of getting close with people and like really knowing what people want and people need, versus just trying to satisfy everybody and give to everybody. And then your anxiety at night is, well, maybe I didn't give enough. Really? Maybe you didn't give enough. Can you hear yourself? That sounds stupid. But whatever. Not stupid. It's just, that sounds naive and foolish to think that everything you could have given to somebody is not enough. Well, if you're giving, that's more than what people do on a daily basis. And if someone's taking everything and then being like, that's not enough, feed me more. Gross. Feed yourself. Vamos. Vamanos. Children, vamanos. So that's your reading, Taurus. Hope it helps. I actually think I'm going to take a picture of this for the thing, though. Make it all look pretty. Actually, I will make it look pretty. I'm going to do a nice wallpaper for this one today. How about that? Put a little bit of spunk in there for you. Maybe you'll pay attention. Anyways, that's it. Peace out. Have a good one. Your girl, Moonshine.